hopes. And unfortunately, it's not something that I want to start the show off with, but Peterborough Speedway put out yesterday afternoon that there is a member of the racing community, a close member of the racing community, somebody that has been a part of it for a long time, who is in desperate need of um, support um, through what looks to be a very tough battle for their life. And um, out of respect for um, everybody involved, um, we wanted to make sure that we mention this. This is extremely tough. We just had a situation last month with a longtime member of the racing community that unfortunately did pass away, and now it looks like we have another one that is struggling at this time. So to start off ONTrack Weekly, we just wanted to make sure that we recognize and show our love and support at this time for anybody that is affected by this, anybody that knows the situation. Um, I'm sure we will hear something about it in the future. Um, like I said, out of respect, it's not our place to discuss who it is and what is going on at this time. But we definitely want to make sure that love and messages of prayer or support go out to all those affected at this time, and um, you know, we just hope for a positive end. Um, you know, it's been a rough start um, for the racing community already in 2025, and hopefully, um, hopefully it doesn't get any worse. I mean, hopefully we can have a positive outcome out of this, but if not, the racing community will come together to support whoever needs it. This individual's family, friends, people within the industry that they know. We will make sure that everybody is covered. Um, the one thing I've been able to see from the last couple of seasons being involved in the racing community is that they jump to um, they jump to it when one of our family is affected and is struggling. So, um, like I said, we hope the very best, and we want to make sure we point it out. And thank you to Peterborough for mentioning it. Um, it's not the easiest thing to post and to talk about somebody that it doesn't look good for. But you know, fighting and that's what we want is prayers and thoughts, and hopefully positivity will help bring whoever it is through that battle and on the road to recovery. Um, but for now, we're gonna wrap that part up. But did want to make sure that we went over this and that we took a moment to wish whoever it is and the people involved the very best. I know this is typically a week. These 2 weeks are um, a week of lots of joy, of excitement. People in uh, Florida for New Smyrna and for Daytona, Auburndale, and we really hope that a positive outcome can come from this. So we welcome you into ONTrack Weekly tonight here on GeForce TV. I want to thank Lila Sigma for that great intro that she was able to give us for this week. As you see, we've kind of got still a small roster of stuff to go through this week. So far, not much in terms of roster updates that we have seen. I've just got one more source to check. Um, and if that comes through, that will also be dropped because we won't have any updates, unfortunately, to speak of. Um, and that will happen. We do have moments of uh, back and forth when it comes to updates to websites. As of right now, I don't see any major changes or updates, so we might not have any. I will say that my list, I know I have a couple of entries to update, thanks to, I wouldn't say sleuthing on social media, but just some positive news regarding the um, ever expanding uh, um, modified division out at Sunset Speedway. It does appear that we will be seeing a lot more entries than we have seen in the past couple of years. We've seen six cars. Looking potentially right now to have over 10, and that would be a great, really good thing to see for a division that has really needed it. So I believe I saw a message from Andrew Massey, formerly of OMRS, saying that they're going to go to Sunset this year and run their modified class, potentially Tyler Bouillon as well. OMRS going through a body change this year, and I don't know how big the field is going to be. I mean, OMRS, um, in my personal opinion, needs as many cars as they can get, and definitely needs um, social media to boost up a little bit. Same with what we've seen with Outlaw Super Lates and Pro 4 Modifieds. These types of divisions, you got to have as much up-to-date information out there. It's very hard to keep up with divisions if the information is not reliable. I think so far what we've seen is um, pretty good for the Outlaw Midgets. In this off season, Can-Am midgets as well. I've seen a lot of social activity from them. United Racing Series has been a little quiet. I expect because there's probably news coming around Motorama. There typically always is. We still are about a month away, so we are going to take a look at Motorama, what the attractions are that they've got going on, ticket information, and then we'll talk about kind of my plans for that weekend at Motorama, where you can find myself. So we'll talk about that. And then, of course, the big news dropped this past weekend. Really out of surprise. I don't think many people were expecting this when it came out. February 8th, which was Saturday, Peterborough Speedway released their schedule before Motorama. We were under the impression that that's what was when it was going to be released. They had a publication that said they were going to release it on the 8th or at Motorama. Not the case. Instead, we are going to have the Peterborough schedule with everybody else's. So now we can start planning the 2025 season for where people are going to be. People can start planning and getting their plans together. And I understand wanting to have the schedule out at a big event, but in this day and age, people really need the information as quickly as possible. Get everything situated, especially for those that are going all over the place this year. So like media like myself, I kind of need to know where I'm going and get that situated quicker than earlier than later. But kudos to Peterborough Speedway. They've got some highlights that they wanted to mention. They have a 50 lap mini stock invitational and 50 lap bone stock invitational. So we're going to make sure we get to those as well. And why some of this is what I'm seeing here is, again, smart strategic planning for certain divisions. My hope is that uh, the tracks will continue to work on trying to build this. My hope is that we look at lowering the amount of stuff is going on a single night, especially when you consider some of these tracks. Like Peterborough would be one of them that has double. Um, they have not just the features, but they also have double heats. So each of these divisions will have a heat, a second, like 2 rounds of heats, and then the features on top of them. So it's a long night for people, and the fact that not all the tracks are doing the same thing. You'll see probably people go to different places throughout the year. Well, let's take a look at their 2025 schedule. I'm excited about this because I'm going back to Peterborough for a couple more events than what I've gone to in the last couple of years. Looking at doubling the amount of time that we went to Peterborough last year. Pure Country will present their opening night, and this is, again, free admission, a fantastic idea for Peterborough Speedway last year. JP said that they ran out of food. Can you believe that? Ran out of food on the first night. And when we had JP on the podcast last year, that was one of the things that he mentioned, is that I could try and get people through the door with admission, but if I can get people through the door way more than what would show up regularly and get them to buy a bunch of food, that does really well for my numbers. And Pure Country once again putting on the opening night, fan appreciation night as well. So you see bone stocks, mini stocks, renegade trucks, super stocks, late models, and the Legends will be on tap. They start their season on May 17th. So there's a little bit of a difference there. Flamborough and Sunset are May 3rd. May 17th for Peterborough, which does mean we potentially could see some Peterborough racers start their seasons a little bit earlier at Sunset or Flamborough. Try and get some race nights in before their seasons actually start. And that's for the junior late models. They won't start until the 24th of May. And Bone Stocks will be starting the season back to back. They will actually do 2 weekends in a row. The OMRS, and they'll do kids rides on May 24. May 31st, you got mini stocks, late models, Legends, and then the Bandoleros will make their debut of the season. Again, Bandoleros, you have to remember, Ontario Bandoleros, they do double features each night. So they'll have their first race of the season. Outlaw Midgets will make their first trip for the year, and the Kids Barrel Races as well will make its debut. Then you have Double Tuning Night. Again, great initiative, get people through the door. Pepsi presents, again, the Double Tuning Night for fan appreciation on June 7th. Bone Stocks, Mini Stocks, the trucks, Super Stocks, and the Junior Late Models. I like having the Junior Late Models as a part of it. Kids love to see their fellow kids racing. Then you got June 14th. Now, how about this? This is a fantastic idea. The APC Late Model Series, 100 laps with a 50-lap Dayco Super Stock race. You've got 150 laps for the United Racing Series, and then they're going to put on a 50-lap Bone Stock Shootout. Now, this is the hope. This is the hope that I think what we want for June 14th. Now, I'm going to take a quick look here at Sunset Speedway and take a look. June 14th, let's see if there's a conflict there, because if there's bone stocks, which there is not, there's no bone stocks on the card there. This, to me, screams working together. And I hope that it's the case. I love this because What you're doing is you're giving the bone stock racers an opportunity to be a part, of a broadcast on Racing America with the APC crowd, which will always be big. And then on top of that, you are also giving them the opportunity to come in and visit and get people that don't regularly race at Peterborough to be a part of the event. Now, Sunset will have their very big crowd for the Alan Lincoln Memorial Ontario Sportsman Series. They're going to still have that on the 14th. But this event here is actually really exciting because 50 lap bone stock shootout, it doesn't play a favor to one team or another. Yeah, sure, the regulars will typically be very good. Your Sean Kennedy's, your Angelo Novis's, your Tegan Stanley's. You're more than likely going to see those guys still up front. But this opens the door for, say, a Calvin Racer, who we just had on the podcast last week, said he'd love to be able to get out to race at Peterborough more often, but just there's not spots on the schedule. My understanding, Brady Cox had asked in the chat on the page on Peterborough Speedway, and they're still working on the rules, but they're looking at towards mostly like ACC rules for the bone stocks that night. I would love it if we were able to get guys to come up from Delaware, be a part of that as well. Full Throttle, and I'm just checking right now on the Full Throttle schedule for June 14th and see whether they're on the card. So they are not on the card there. So June 14th, bone stocks could be coming from Full Throttle as well. Flamborough, on the other hand, that might be a bit of a tough task because they have so many nights. So it's not going to be Flamborough racers. They are scheduled on the card for Don Biederman Memorial Cruise Night and Cruise Night. So that's not going to happen for them. However, you have the opportunity to have bone stock racers from all over come and be a part of this event. I love the idea. I think it's going to be a good idea. I think it's going to be a good event. I mean, having the fact that you're going to have APC in town, Daco in town, and bone stocks, I'm all for it. They've got the Autism Awareness Night following that with the mini stocks, the trucks, late models, the junior late models, and then they've got Can-Am midgets coming in on June 21st. June 28th, Pepsi presents another double tuning night for fan appreciation. If you count that, that is 3 fan appreciation nights before July. Love it. Peterborough knows what they're doing. Bone stocks, mini stocks, super stocks, late models, and the legends get to be a part of the fan appreciation night. Absolutely fantastic. Bill Pickford Memorial Race, bone stocks, renegade trucks, super stocks, the junior late models, and the OMRS 61 and the kids rides, all a part of that show. You have the Midsummer Bash, which is going to be your outlaws coming into town. That's your super late models, 50 lappers at 50 laps at Peterborough Speedway, mini stocks with your late models, junior late models, and the super late models add on OMRS and King of the Hill. That is a stacked night. July 19th, Tirecraft presents the mini stocks, renegade trucks, super stocks, legends, bandoleros back for double features, and the kids bike races. Now, one of the events that I'm looking forward to going to this year, hopefully if all works out, July 26th is Oscar night, modifieds and hot rods, bone stocks, super stocks, outlaw midgets, and King of the Hill. So the modifieds and hot rods, add in the bone stocks and the super stocks. Should be a great night. The outlaw midgets come in for another ride around Peterborough Speedway. August 2nd is going to be their Cottage Country Bash with a corn roast they do prior to the event. Corn roast always gets a lot of excitement there. And they're going to do the bone stocks, and they're going to do a 50-lap mini stock invitational, late models and junior late models. So let's do our quick look here, August 2nd, and see if August 2nd has mini stocks. So I'm going to guess that Peterborough and Sunset worked on their schedule because there's no conflict there either. And if that's what's happened, major props to Peterborough and to Sunset on working together. That is what you need to be doing. No conflicts there. Let's take a quick look at Full Throttle and see if their mini stocks are available. What was that supposed to be? August 2nd. Uh, no, mini stocks are racing the Sunday, so that likely might, we probably won't see mini stocks there for the night before. But it's still a possibility. So I definitely love that. Great work on this schedule this year. Excellent stuff. And then we've got, once again, the Ontario Sportsman Series pulling into town on August 9th. Now, that is a different schedule. It's a couple weeks. I think it's just a week or two late. It's 2 weeks later than when they would typically be there. They did switch their schedule around. So OSS, instead of being in July, typically normally they run the July 27th week is normally when they've been running. They're going to go now August 9th. And that's a really stacked night with late models, bone stocks, bandoleros, legends, OSS, and barrel races. If it's me, I would be looking at hopefully trimming down some of those. Um, OSS 100 lap, it takes quite a while at Peterborough. Um, it has at least. If they get onto the track at 10 o'clock, they should be done by 11. Um, if it's me, though, like I said, I would be putting OSS on first and get that race done as soon as possible because a lot of those racers come from a long distance. There's guys that come from Windsor area, Delaware, and they come into Peterborough for just that race. So I would be looking at potentially having them on first, get their stuff done, allow them to travel home, and not be too late. But again, that's up to the track. And then this is interesting. On August 23rd, I don't know if I ever got a explanation, and maybe somebody that is watching tonight can let me know what the reverse. I assume the reverse races is just going the opposite direction, but the flagpole races, I'm curious what those are. And then Championship Clash on August 30th. Okay, so again, their August 30th is their championship night. Now, Sunset, their championship night, if you notice, their championship night is September 13th. So Peterborough starts later and ends earlier than Sunset. Okay, so you're potentially going to have racers there from Peterborough to end the season at Sunset if they so choose, and then you can't be upset. August 10th to 12th, one of the best events, bar none. The 32nd annual Autumn Colors Classic uh, makes me feel old because I'll be older just by 2 years. But it is great that the Autumn Colors Classic once again will return, bigger and bigger every year. My hope is that it can continue to grow. Uh, be interesting to see kind of who's on the card this year. Um, some of these divisions will be very interesting to see where they end up on the card. But I gotta say, honestly, schedule wise, this is extremely impressive for Peterborough. Really, really nice. It's not insane in terms of the nights, and there are some event nights that are less crowded, which I'm happy about. The one problem that we've seen in the past, not just it's not just a Peterborough thing. It's all tracks is having too much on the card at one time. And from what I see right now, this is an excellent schedule. Now, my plans were really based off of where the schedules were going to look and how things were looking for 2025. Now, as of now, tentatively, I have about 15 weekends. I won't be able to do every weekend as much as I'd love to. I don't have rides to be able to do that. And because of where I'm located, I don't have an easy accessible way. In most cases, I do have an amazing person at Peterborough who has offered to anytime I need to get there. She's basically said, "Hey, as long as we're going, no problem. Like you've got a ride there. I think I've got a ride back." Um, and so that obviously is a big help for me. Peterborough is a great opportunity for me to be able to stretch my legs, not just in the sense of getting a different night of racing, but also getting to do some commentary, which is, if you guys know me, that is my dream. It's my passion. Getting to be able to be up in the booth with Charlie and especially with Ben. Uh, Great kid, excellent announcer, and of course Charlie is just the constant professional. So to be up there with the team is an honor, and hopefully going to try and do some of that this season. But we're looking at right now, uh, not just getting to the racetracks this year, but trying to expand the series that I do go for. Um, One of the things that has held this show back a little bit is a lack of knowledge of other pavement racing series that, for whatever reason, I haven't become familiar with them. OMRS would be one of them, and um, Pro Challenge, Ontario Pro Challenge. The Legend cars we're working 100% on. This year with SNS, that's a series that we're actually going to be focusing on. OSS has been a focus for the last couple of years, so this time around, um, it's going to be more of a focus on the Ontario Legend Car Series. Great Lakes Legends is a little bit further away from me, so it's not as accessible. Same with it comes to when people ask about, and I've had this kind of question as why don't you go to Varney or, so, I've got Sauble on my list, but why don't you go to Sauble or Delaware? And that just, it comes down to distance. Um, is, I believe, roughly 4 hours for all of those tracks, 3 to 4 hours away. And as somebody that does not spend the night and does not drive, it is a little difficult to get there and back in the same day. So I do have a potential date right now for a Sauble race night. But again, that's the most tentative ones. We also have, with being in the podcast game, we also have partnerships with Sunset and Sauble and Peterborough. So those places take precedent over the ones that we don't have a partnership with. And that comes down to, it's a partnership, and out of respect for our partners, we go to those tracks that want us there, and we have a deal with. So right now, our season will begin at Motorama. Now, if you haven't been, and I've had some dealings with people that aren't familiar with the show, so we're gonna do a little talk about Motorama, and the reason why is because I will be there all 3 days. I'm excited once again to be. This will be our second year with a booth at the show, and this will be the first time officially that we're not doing anything with OSS. This is strictly just here for stickers and scuffs. ONTrack Weekly is through GeForce, so kind of doing stuff for that as well. You'll more than likely see interviews from Motorama here on this program because I want to bring you those interviews from people across the racing community that we do see there of all levels. And that's the one thing as now comes to join um, That is the one thing that we try to do here, is we want to have the opportunity to showcase not just racers that are champions, but also the young generations coming in. And absolutely, let's go through first off, what is this show? Okay, well, it is technically not a racing show. And that's the big misconception for people, is that they go and they expect that it's going to be all about race cars and all about racing. It's not, but there is a dedicated section from Gulf Racing Fuels that is your racing zone. Typically, the way it's laid out is you have the entrance with a couple of customs at the front, booths all the way on either side, and then you make it into the racing zone. It's the first section from the entranceway. You have to go through the racing zone to continue through the rest of the show. Now, what is recommended? If you are going to this show, get there early, as Al says in the chat. Parking is insane, and that is no word of a lie. Multiple times they've had to have police presence to operate and control the parking situation. They've had to tow people from the plazas because people use that instead of the dedicated parking zones for the show. So make sure that you are doing that. If you are not able to, take an Uber, take public transit so that you don't have to deal with parking. It is a definite possibility for you. Honestly, I would suggest doing that, an Uber, and those if you are in the show. If you are in the show and you have your um, uh, your pass for the weekend, make sure you go through the side entrance. Save yourself a lot of time. Go through the side entrance, because the side entrance, only if you were there for the entire time. I believe if you're an exhibitor, you are able to get through the side entrance. If you were coming in for a day, I don't believe you have that access. So all the stuff from Motorama is available through their website. Now, we're going to go over here and show you what's going on. So Motorama is presented by eBay Motors once again in 2025. It is at the International Center, and as you see, lots of cool stuff that's posted up here. This is not fully complete yet. The whole show isn't fully announced yet. So we've got the International Center that's right by the airport. And this is important here. The dates are, in fact, March 7th to the 8th to the 9th. Now, people start to bring their stuff in on the Thursday. It's from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the Friday, Saturday, 10 to 5 on the Sunday. Now, the Friday is typically a little bit quieter. You will have a lot of students there. There is a high school program, I believe, where a lot of the students come in that day. So if you're not really a fan of dealing with high school kids, avoid the Friday. Sunday is a lot quieter. If I'm being completely honest with you, Saturday is nuts. So what I would recommend, get your program, and figure out where you want to start. And the reason why you've got to decide, you got to go through this, because you got to decide what you want to see. If you want to see the internationals, if you want to see the cars, the imports, you're going right to the end. So what my recommendation is to people that have never been to the show before, it is a long trek throughout the entire show. So in most chances, you're not going to make it to the far end within time, unless you're really dedicated to. So start at the far end and make your way forward. I'll tell you why, because it gets to be really, really difficult to get through the crowd at the end of the day when the show starts to close. Believe it or not, it does stay busy right until 8 p.m. on Saturday. Friday, kind of, but Saturday is definitely the busiest. It is Saturdays. I honestly, the line from the entranceway all the way through is insane. So you definitely want to make sure you get there, um, and give yourself a lot of extra time. Typically, people start lining up really early. We've seen people as soon as like an hour before the show opens. Um, Now, there's typically a section, like I said, that you're going to have for the racing stuff. Now, the racing zone itself, in my opinion, is not as big as it could be. And it was as the Custom Car and Motorsports Expo. It's more about a car expo, I think, than it is motorsports. I think that we definitely need a bit more motorsports people and partners to be involved. And um, the team at Inside Track is a big part of who puts this show on. So you see Greg McPherson is there, uh, puts on a lot of great stuff. And they typically have celebrities from the automotive world. Now, in the past, there's been some star racers. We've seen Bobby Allison has been there as part of the show. Typically, you see NASCAR Canada stars. Um, and this year, once again, celebrities will be the Russ brothers. No Connor Hall this year, but they're going to have Mike and Avery back again for 2025. And they've also got Chip Foose. Um, Now he is going to be there for 2 days. He's going to be there for the Saturday and the Sunday. He's not there on Friday. Meanwhile, the Rust Valley Restorer guys, Mike and Avery, they're going to be there the entire weekend. Got to meet Avery last year. Didn't get to see Mike, except when he was running past me. They will be there the entire weekend. There are opportunities for autographs, pictures. You've got to line up really early for that as well. They are going to appear on the McGuire stage, hall number 2. But again, I recommend if you want to meet these guys, you got to start lining up early. The one thing that is cool about it though, these guys, the best part about that, they actually travel and go through the show themselves. What we saw last year is during their time away from the stage and away from their area of signing autographs, they actually were looking at some of the cars and looking at some of the booths themselves. So definitely make sure if you want to see the Rust Valley Restorers, you can show up. You want to meet Chip Foose as well. He is going to be there from overhauling. So those are the celebrity guests that they have so far. But to me, the racers are heroes as well. As of the racers that we're going to see at the event right now, that's still up in the air. We don't have a lot of confirmation as to which racers are going to be there. It is going to be interesting because normally what we'll see is they've had two NASCAR Canada cars on um, uh, on the grounds. You have not just them though. You're going to have some quote celebrity cars, historical cars. So they've got the Twister Jeep that's going to be there. In the past, they've had Christine, the car Christine that was there. They've had the Scooby Doo van. You've had all sorts of really, really cool things, car related, van related. They've got motorcycles. They've got car clubs. And a lot of individual booths for different vendors. I would say it's kind of hit or miss on depending on the year. Um, and normally what you'll see is, like I said, you've got two or so race cars from NASCAR Canada that's normally a part of it. I don't know what they've got this year. Um, uh, OSS typically will have three cars on display. I know one will be Nathaniel Greenaway. So his car will be back once again for this year. Two Speed Motorsports will have a booth with some of their products there. I believe Ilium Industries will be back. Mighty Wipes typically is there. There is a booth that is diecast, NASCAR diecast. I believe it's from Cayuga Racing. So they'll be there. They typically have the same spot. They're normally when you first walk in to the right entranceway of the right by the bathrooms in the racing zone. So they're on the right hand side where Flamborough is. So the thing about this is a lot of the times same people come back in the same spots every year, um, representing the Ontario racing community. You will have Sauble Speedway there. You will have Peterborough Speedway, Delaware Speedway slash the APC slash United Racing Series. They'll be there. Sunset Speedway. I don't know if Sunset's there. Um, as don't, I didn't see them on the exhibit list. Now, and that's potentially that's just because they don't have the 2025 plan out yet. Um, yeah, see, it's just generic posted right now. J.R. Fitzpatrick is mentioning he's putting his road race car in the CASC booth, which is amazing because it's a beautiful looking car. So, JR, are you going to be there, or are you just having the car on display? Because we're going to need to make sure I come visit you for an interview for sure. Um, as I mentioned before, there are going to be several divisions representing at the track or at the show. You're going to see OSS Pro 4 Modifieds. Um, Last year we didn't. I don't think we had Ontario midgets. Sorry, Ontario outlaw midgets. I'm trying to remember when we had those two. Um, I don't think we had any Canada midgets last year either. Now that I'm thinking about it. Uh, so yeah, it can depend. Year in and year out, there's some differences between who's there and who's not. You'll see that there's a pinup contest for Miss Motorama every year, um, and that kind of brings you to where I'm going to be. So last year, the media folk had their own booth right by the stage. It was Motorama, our own Motorama uh, booth presented by Boneyard Event Services. Uh, that was featuring myself from Stickers and Scuffs. We had John Morrison from the True North Racing podcast, Brandon Feeney from the Feeney Call, and then you also had um, uh, the Wide World of Motorsports. This year is looking like we'll potentially have a bit more, including Only Fours, Rich Schwarzenberg, Turn 3, which is Ryan Cowan and Scott Provost, and hopefully a bit more than that. We all typically get some stage time. Um, be looking for drivers to do that. As for myself this year, I likely am only going to do one period of show time on the stage, just based off how busy I was last year. This year, like I said, it is typically a very busy event. Um, if you're going to look at getting food, make sure you bring some solid money. Food is pretty expensive. Drink is pretty expensive there. There is the Night of Champions on Saturday night, which features all of the win the champions across on Canadian racing, um, road and oval track, dirt and pavement. If you want a championship, you are eligible. If you haven't already, make sure you get out there and sign up. Um, and they do a really nice presentation. They give a opportunity to present and get presented a plaque, a little award from the show celebrating you as a champion. And it while it's not the grandest stage if you think it's not the biggest, not the Rogers Center, but it's a great opportunity to showcase the racers, and Fast Eddie putting that on once again in 2025. It's great to see, honestly, that we're going to have representing a lot of tracks and series this year. Uh, I believe we've got a good group of racers that are going to make it to the event as champions from 2024. Um, I th- I think you'll see a good showcase of them. Um, Last year, and there typically is. I mean, this is an opportunity to support those that go out and really put in a solid effort for their um, chances to win a championship. So if we go here, take a look, make sure you get a program as well. So we got to look at the tickets. Okay, now, um, 3-day passes. It's hard to say whether or not you want to do a 3-day pass. $60 is the cost for a 3-day pass. $40 for youth. Adult tickets are $25. Seniors are $20. Youth, that's ages 7 to 15, $17, and a family pass, which includes 2 adults and 2 youth, is $75. Now, this is going to get you your access to the Motorama Mayhem, the Spring Fever Truckorama, and the Racing Zone feature areas. There is typically a lot of giveaways as well. There's lots of products and samples, and one of the things I'm hoping to do at our booth is have some of our SNS racers signing autographs, and just have some of their. A lot of people get hero cards for the year, and then they end up with so many extra, and they just go in the garbage. Well, sign your name on them, drop them off at our booth, and we'll find people to take them. People like to come by the tables and just take stuff. Perfect opportunity to get you and your partner's names out there. Um, like I said, it's not as I would love to be able to do a panel where we just literally have a long list, a long line of racers just signing autographs with hero cards, and um, away kind of from where the stage is, because it gets a little gummed up there. It's just a very populated spot, and I would love to be able to have like an actual spot for people to go and sign autographs properly. But um, my hope is that we could just do what we're doing here. The problem that I had last year, not a lot of chairs were given to us, so it's not like we can just um, take a whole bunch of racers and put them all in a spot. Um, and then the other side of that too is, um, if you got your car entered, you can also be a part of. They do basically judging for who has the best looking rides. So if it's to me, Jared Fitzpatrick's car is pretty hard not to give a plus to. There should be a couple others on display. Typically, you'll see some late model super stocks. Haven't really seen a ton of bone stocks the last couple of years, now that I think about it. Um, and last year there was a lack. It seemed like there was a lack of cars uh, in general. I understand people's opinions on the show and not wanting to pay or not wanting to be a part of it. But you got to think. If you don't, we might not have a show any longer. My hope is for the future to have multiple cars in our booth, to have a booth without a giant pillar in the middle of it. But we're going to take anything that we can get right now for our media. We're trying to build this show, build the motorsports side of it, and hopefully bring people in to be a part of the racing scene in 2025 and beyond. Like I said, I would definitely expect that things will get pretty busy. So get yourself prepared. It does get significantly warm as well. You'll typically, if I'm there, I'm normally in shorts because it gets warm, and the air is very dry. So just be prepared because of the dry air. Make sure you have a water. I'd say get a water. I don't know if they'll let you bring it in. I can't really remember. Um, but like I said, get there early. Get your tickets. They're not crazy prices, guys. Like this is pretty decent prices for the day. Um, and if you need to leave or whatever, make sure you get your stamp. You can leave and come back. And definitely enjoy. It is probably my favorite week because I love getting to interact with the racing community. And last year, I'm not going to lie, it was very overwhelming as well. Because when we do shows like this, we don't have an audience. We don't know how many people actually know who we are. And um, we don't really know kind of how many people really care about what we do. Last year got a very big indication when I was there about how well people are connected and how many people do watch. There's a good opportunity to grow this show to be bigger and bigger and bigger each year. And it could be. We really do need people to get out there, support. We need racers to be a part of it, and especially we need all the tracks to participate. We need racing series to participate. I applaud those that show up for all 3 days. It is a long weekend. Um, I had no voice by the end, um, and I felt it for sure. It gets tough to be standing on the concrete, and so we're gonna try and sit quite a bit. And I got my cohorts from the Wide World of Motorsports and especially the True North Racing podcast and Brandon Feeney. They make sure I don't overheat myself and get too rambunctious and make sure I eat because I tend to go way too into things and just there's a lot of stuff to do. So I'll be there. The plans to be there all 3 days, and as long as everything works out. So I hope to see you guys there at Motorama. Of course, that's the 7th, 8th, and 9th, uh, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Friday, Saturday, and then till 5 p.m. on the Sunday. By 3 o'clock, people start to pack up, and we'll probably be packing up early. That is typically what happens. Um, if you've got cars, like people with the cars, kind of have to wait till the show's closed so they can start moving out. But we'll definitely be on our way. If you have a suggestion for something to do, suggestion for contests, suggestion for content you'd like, please reach out. We've got several people, like I said, on Only Fours, Rich Schwarzenberg planning to be there, Turn 3 Motorsports planning to be there, Ryan Cowan will be there Friday, Scott Provis will be there, I believe, all 3 days. Jomo from Jomo Media will be there all 3 days. Myself will be there all 3 days. Wide World Motorsports, I think Saturday, Sunday is what they're planning on being there for. And like I said, the representation, I believe you'll see Flambro, Sauble. I don't think you'll see Graham Bend. I don't believe they were there last year. Peterborough, Full Throttle for sure. Full Throttle always has a lot of good stuff there too. Sunset, like I said, I'm not sure about Sunset or Schweigen Speedway. I'm not sure about them, but Delaware and APC, we definitely see them. And who knows? We'll hopefully see you guys there at the Boneyard Event Services media place. I don't know what we called it last year. It's not more of a. It'd be nice if it was like a lounge where we could actually have some good seating and stuff. But we got to work on that for sure. But for those that tuned in, we got a very small crowd tonight watching ONTrack Weekly, and it's unfortunately it's been like that for the last couple of weeks. But we know that there's situations where people can't catch the show live. So a lot of you guys tune in afterwards, and I can't thank you enough for it. If you haven't already, thumbs up, subscribe to GeForce TV. Make sure you check out Race Rivals Race Chat with Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross every week here on the channel, and of course, make sure you share it. We want people to see the amazing racing from Oshweekend Speedway each and every week here on GeForce TV, and we can't do it without you and your loyal support. Hopefully, we'll see you guys at Motorama. We'll see you guys at the racetrack this year. Cam K signing off for this week. Thank you all for being a part of the show, and we'll see you all next week here on GeForce TV.